All right, what's going on, everybody? Twitch and YouTube. This is Straight Aggression or Straight Kong or Sergio Barona, depending on what you want to call me. This is the third episode of HaloCenter. Today I'm going to talk about a few different things. I'm sorry about the hiatus. I took a bit of a break. I was planning on doing these every 2 days or so, and I actually hope to start doing that again. It's just there's a lot of negativity in the Halo community recently. Just a lot of I don't know. There just wasn't a lot to look forward to that I was really excited about. So I didn't really have the desire to talk about things as much as I usually do. Um, but a lot of things happened, and I realized that I actually really enjoy doing these things. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Let's see what you want here. That you want me to. All right. So I mean, yeah. So the first order of business, that's going to affect things is that let's see here. Uh, Optic made a team change. So Flamesword decided to drop Ares, which they had actually only picked up a few events past. And hold on, people are messaging me like crazy here. All right, there we go. Couple events past, they dropped. They totally revamped their roster and they picked up Ares as their fourth. Ares played actually really well. People have been very impressed with the way he's been playing. I haven't heard any complaints. In fact, even Ace said that there was no problems against how Ares was playing at all. He had actually been incredibly impressed with his game. I didn't actually get to watch a lot of Ares, but from what people are saying, he was maybe one of the strongest, if not the strongest player on Optic. But they decided to drop him. And actually, before the transfer period started, that's actually going to be something that I'm going to head into and talk about here in a minute. That's going to actually have a lot of significance. But they decided to drop him pre official transfer period, although they haven't officially made the team change. So in their place, they picked up the hot F free agent known as a pure gangster. On paper, that's crazy, sick team. So he want like Optic was an incredibly talented team in say team skill. So they always had each other's help. Their communication has always been stellar. Some of the best in the league. Period. They've always been a team that wins because they have just the best teamwork. Period. Um, but it hasn't. They haven't been able to get over the hump and be able to beat, let's say, the really top teams like Evil Geniuses or Denial or CLG. They haven't had the firepower to. They get them close. They make games really close, but they don't have what it takes to get to the next level, to get to the top tier teams, the absolute pinnacle of what the cream of the crop. By picking up APG, that should change almost instantly. So their firepower is magnified. You're gonna see it in their play style as long as they practice, as long as they play. APG is an aggressive force that knows what he's doing and isn't stupid. He knows when to push. He knows when not to. His shot is crazy. On paper, you're gonna see this team be scary. I haven't gotten a chance to watch a lot of their scrims recently, but this is a team to look out for. If they combine that team skill that they previously had with a dominant slaying presence, you're looking at a pretty scary combination. Um, so that was the first team change that kind of shook things up. After that, BTH crumbled. So all of BTH essentially disbanded. So as soon as APG left, Maniac, Legit, Clutch, that team fell apart. They they fell apart, and all of them are pretty much free agents right now. So then, recently, actually just I think 2 or 3 days ago, Straight Rippin made a team change. They dropped Prototype off of Straight Rippin, and still haven't picked anybody up. I'm guessing that they actually already have the fourth in mind and have already picked them up, because otherwise I wouldn't see why they would run the risk of dropping a player like Prototype mid-season and running the risk of losing their seed. That's actually something that's, once again, I'm going to talk about here in a minute. These teams doing team changes before the transfer period is very risky, and Straight runs the same risk that Optic ran when dropping Ares before the transfer period. So right now it is T squared, Naded, and Straight Sick, and as a fourth, I have to say it's probably going to be legit. So legit rounding out that fourth, there's history there. He's a very good fit. He'd give him the right blend of slaying prowess, which so I actually think he would be a little bit of an upgrade in that sense. Not necessarily in sniping skill, but in just pure awareness, knowing how to move around the map, being explosive plays. He should bring that to the team. His BR has always been insane. He's always had one of the best BRs in the circuit. He hasn't played well, not recently, but straight ripping always brings out the best in legit, especially when he's playing with players like Naded and Legit, who always make him shine the most. With Naded and T Squared, sorry. So I expect them to be, if that's the case, if that's the team that ends up forming, highly competitive. Um, and I could see them based off teamwork, not necessarily purely alone on individual skill, being able to contend with teams that they previously could only take games off of, but could never beat. So they might have the chance to contend against teams like, let's say, Optic, who they've lost to actually. But more importantly, Evil Geniuses, CLG, Denial, teams that the incumbents, the ones that are at the top of the league, and people have a hard time breaking into. So this team change, if it is for legit, is going to give them the opportunity to be an elite team. If we're going to go completely out of left field and say something crazy, like these are scenarios that I don't see happening for team changes, you could see maybe Pistola. I don't know what his time frame is injury wise. He said that he'd look to getting on a team if he felt they had a reasonable chance of competing. Straight's been playing teams really closely, taking them to Game 5. They took EG to Game 5 last HCS Cup, and I believe EG one actually ended up. Well, I can't remember who won actually the last HCS Cup. I'll take a look at it actually in a minute. But they took EG to Game 5, and that was huge. And that was actually that was in the PGL tournament, and EG ended up winning that PGL tournament. So they took the eventual champions all the way to Game 5 and lost 50-45 on a lockout Team Slayer. So they've been really close to breaking into it. If they picked up a player like Pistola, once again, this is a move completely out of left field. I don't know if this is possible or anything, but this might be a team that Pistola could look at and being interested in. So that's an option, and something that is about 0.000% likely is formal. There isn't any really other teams that I could see right now that he could join, although he'd be such a hot commodity that I'm sure teams would shuffle just for him. I don't expect that to be the case, not at all. Like, once again, that I could see being almost impossible, but that would be an amazing move. I just don't think that's the case. If I really were to say completely out of left field, you could probably see a player like Pistola getting picked up. If you were actually solely looking, though, at current options, I have to say Legit is the most likely, probably followed then by Ares. Ares would be a good choice. From what I've heard, he's already on a team with Maniac, Arcanum, Contra, and Ares. So that's the team that I've heard that's been built, which I think is the new Noble Black. I'm not sure if that's the team name that they're going with. That's another squad that's going to be dangerous. They have a lot of veteran leadership there with Maniac. Obviously, Ares has been in the circuit for a while. He's been playing very well recently. Arcanum also has played a long time. And they have a young talent in Contra. I think he plays second in a 1v1 tournament, only in aided. So also that's going to be a dangerous team that people should be looking out for. Right now, the bottom half of the seeds for teams are pretty much up in the air. So, I mean, VWS Halo is, from what I've heard, isn't even a team anymore. I don't think they hold their seed. I could be wrong here, but I don't even think they hold their seed anymore. And this is where it gets really, really tricky with the whole Optic and Straight doing team changes before the transfer period starts. So, right now, it's T Squared, Naded, and Straight Sick, prototypes off the team. But if Prototype gets a team and plays in it in the next HCS Cup this Sunday, Straight loses their seed. So they would go from being the 6th seed with 1,700 points to having no points. That is risky. And in fact, the way it's looking right now, Prototype said that if he has to play basically in this HCS Cup, or he won't have a chance to have enough points to head into the finals, which is understandable, but Straight's going to be screwed seed-wise. So they might have shot themselves in the foot pretty hard. In doing that, I can understand if they felt that the team that they were going to pick up was worth it. So if they're looking at that team and they're going, the seed won't matter. We'll do really well in the HCS Cup. We'll compete for first place in all the events to come. You know what? Then it might have been worth that risk. But there is definitely a risk involved in what they did. It's the same thing with Optic. So Flamesword, Ace, Assault, and APG, they dropped Ares. If Ares plays on a team, and because he's on Noble Black, I'm almost 100% sure he'll end up playing this weekend. Optic is going to lose their seed. So they're going to go from the fourth place seed all the way down to unranked. They will not have a single point to work with. So going into the finals, that's scary. That's 50 grand on the line for finals. If they don't have the seed by then, you're going to be in deep, deep, deep trouble. That's another huge risk that they're running. But again, they feel that the team is worth it if the team has what it takes to compete for first place and not just have a seed, that they could go somewhere that they could maybe win the finals with the team, then I can understand why they made that team change regardless of the risk. But it's risky. So it comes down to these new HCS rules for team changes, I think need some tweaking. I think it's good that they're trying to promote more stable, more consistent teams that people can actually look at the players and be like, oh yeah, legit's been on that team forever, or oh yeah, I mean Flamesword's been on Optic for forever, and you have recognizable players to recognizable teams, and that always creates fandom. If and I can understand why they're trying to create that, but I don't think the current rules necessarily foster that in the best way, because dropping one player should not constitute you running a huge risk of losing your seed. Um, Team changes sometimes are necessary. Sometimes you need that extra player, and you're missing that piece to take you to the next level. And Optic and Straight run a serious risk of doing that because they only changed one spot. That's amazing. That's ridiculous, actually. I don't agree with that. I think people have mentioned that maybe players should hold on to points and not the team, and that's something that you could look at. Personally, I would actually like more of a middle approach where you have to have two players from the previous team to hold the points for the team. So, to give you an example, if Straight Rippin dropped, say Straight Sick, and it was just T squared and nated, they would still be able to hold the seed. That's how I think it would be the most correct way. Because that would offer change while still offering some continuity with, let's say, the two best players on the team. I think that would be the best way to go, and I think that's something that they're going to need to implement. Obviously, it's going to be in Season 2. They need to seriously look at changing the team changing rules. Team changing has always been a big part of Halo. It's actually one of the most exciting things about Halo. It's one of the main reasons I created the show, was to be able to talk about team changes as they happen, to be able to detail them, to tell you which players will more than likely land on which teams, which might be good fits, which aren't good fits. Um, it's actually a very exciting thing about Halo. People look forward to it. The forums blow up every time there's a big team change, and trying to kill that isn't good. Maybe limiting it is actually a great thing. I think that's something that they should be shooting for, but I don't think completely trying to eradicate it is the right way to go about it. Um, so I don't know how this is going to go down. We'll see if ESL bends the rules for the top teams in Straight and Optic, because obviously not having them in the finals would be kind of a blow, especially to viewership and things like that. Those teams have fan bases, but I, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. We're just going to have to see. Come Sunday, there's going to be some chaos. It's going to be nuts. I'm obviously going to do a show on Sunday to talk about those things, because it's going to be interesting what kind of decisions are made over points, over teams, who's competing as who. We'll all find that out pretty soon here. So actually, I think that about covers it for today's episode of the HaloCenter. I was gonna keep it a little bit shorter today. I got some complaints in my last video that it was just a little too long. Not complaints, more just constructive feedback. So I'm gonna try to keep these a little bit shorter, about the 10 to 15 minute mark. I'm gonna try to discuss the relevant events, and I'm gonna try to do them fairly consistently, so there's not a lot of things to talk about. Just to keep it concise. Unfortunately, I'm about a week and a half past since I did my last one. Once again, it was more just motivation issues. I really enjoy doing these, but I haven't liked the way that the competitive scene has, the vibe that it's been giving. It's been very negative, and I understand that we're disappointed by a lot of things and how things are going for our community. It's just sometimes it's hard to find the will to continue, and all I hear is those kinds of complaints and things. So I will continue though. I really do enjoy doing these. I appreciate the feedback that I get from people. I appreciate talking about these team changes. I am passionate about Halo. It's something I really love. So I'm going to keep doing them. Um, that's that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, everybody. You can follow me here right on Twitch, and you'll see exactly when I go live. I also have a Twitter account at Straight Aggression, so you can follow me there, and it'll literally at the second that I go live, you'll see it go live there. I will be uploading this to YouTube, so you can check it out after discussing all the team changes. I plan to do another one in 2 days, so hopefully we'll see, what's happened within the next 2 days. Hopefully some more of those team changes will get solidified. We'll see who's on straight ripping, things like that. But at this moment, that's all I got for you guys.